Okay, a lot to talk about. Joining us now, Atiba Madyun. He is the founder and president of Party Politics U.S. That is a data collection firm. Atiba, thanks very much for taking time to chat with us. You're down in Florida, where a lot of the interesting elements played out yesterday. I want to start by talking about just the stage was set with inflation, crime, gas prices so high for this red wave, and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich anticipated that the House would pick up 44 seats. That didn't happen. Why?
Well, this red wave that Republicans expected to get hit a blue wave or a blue wall. And what we actually saw was Republicans, I think, when you look at the U.S. Supreme Court and the Roe v. Wade overturning that the Supreme Court did a few months ago, it played an integral part of this. And you saw a lot of young people, a lot more young people than we've seen come out and vote. We saw women become more re-energized. But to be honest with you, what we really have seen is a continuation of something that was happening within this democratic society in 2018 and 2020. In 2018, more women went to the United States Congress than any other era in the United States history. And in 2020, from both sides of the political aisle, more women continued that trend. So what we're seeing is, while there's a lot of conflict and people talk about a lot of division, what we're really seeing play out here is what happens in a democratic society when the masses of people go into vote. And what we saw yesterday were more people vote than in a midterm election in a very long time. We saw that happen in 2018, and we saw that happen again this year in 2022.
And Atiba, a lot of people basically said that democracy was on the election ballot basically yesterday. Let's talk about some of those close races, especially Senator Kelly, who's out in Arizona. He's in a tough fought race. And what's going on in Georgia? To a lot of people internationally, they are perplexed by this. Here we have somebody who is pastor at the pulpit that MLK Jr. once held against a college football player and a pro football player. How does this happen? But he does have that grassroots support in Georgia.
Well, Reverend Warnock does have, Senator Warnock does have a great deal of support, and then so does Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker has the name. He's a former college football player. He went to the University of Georgia, so he has that popularity. And what is playing out here is like sports. Across the country, every Sunday there are millions of people who are tuning in to watch football and other sports. Politics has become a sport. And they said one sport, though, that the spectator can actually be engaged in, and that's what we saw happen in Georgia. That's what we saw happen in Arizona. We're seeing votes still being counted. Reverend Warnock and Herschel Walker are going to go to a runoff because, as you all said earlier in the first clip, that neither one of them reached the 50% threshold, which is the law in Georgia. So what we're really seeing, though, here is what happens when people go and vote.
You talk about it being a sport. If Donald Trump had a parlay card, it did not do well yesterday. This was a resounding defeat of the people he handpicked, he chose to support in office. What does it say about Trump's popularity in the United States right now, and where does the GOP go from here?
I think the media has painted Donald Trump as being someone who is more than what he is. He's someone who has historically done whatever was in his best interest. And the media has played that because it's a good thing to kind of watch and to watch the divisions or what have you that happen. But he has not done anything in terms of offering a way forward for the country. We've had issues with inflation. A lot of that can be blamed on one party over another, because there's neither one of the parties are able to really work together to be able to really solve this, because it has become a sport where it's a rivalry, where it's one way or the other, not in terms of putting the country first. And that is what we're seeing that's happening in terms of this democratic exercise, is that the majority wins. And so what we see,
usually, but there are a lot of deniers out there too, Atiba. We got to give.
There are a lot of deniers that are out there, but again, when people vote and these numbers that are too large to manipulate the outcome, then we still have to go by what the numbers are. And the numbers were said yesterday where Republicans were betting that they were going to win 44 to 50 seats in the House. They're not there. They were betting that they were going to win the United States Senate. We still won't know that for a number of weeks, because we still have the runoff coming. We still don't know what's going on in Arizona, and we're still waiting for some numbers to come back out of Nevada.
Okay, but real quickly, because we're running out of time, you have 15 seconds. Is the GOP going to control the House? And secondly, who's going to win in Arizona, and who is eventually going to win in Georgia?
That's a good question. Let's put it this way: the Republicans will more than likely win the House. The Democrats are in a prime position right now to hold the Senate, and so there will continue to be the House will be with Republicans, and the Senate will more than likely go to the Democrats.
Atiba, I see a diplomatic future in your horizon. That was a really good answer. Thanks very much. We certainly appreciate the insight. We appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thank you.